everyone, and welcome to episode 158 of the Down South Photo Show with me, Brendan Waits, here in Ocean Grove, Victoria, Australia, and the guy on your other, that way now, on your other screen or in your other ear if you're listening to the podcast. It's Cam Blake in Hobart, Tasmania, Australia. G'day, mate.
Hello. I'm glad you didn't ask how I was.
Can we get all the listeners and viewers to give Cam a collective hug? He needs one. Here you go, Cam.
Thanks. I need something.
You do.
We've just been discussing off here what's going on, but anyway.
Well, what better pick me up to have than to get on and record an episode of the Down South with myself? That'll fix you.
Yeah, that'll make me feel heaps better. This has been on the top of my list of things to do today.
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
Shit.
Yeah. So we'll get on to the week that you've had shortly.
Okay. These are real tears, by the way.
That's right. We'll talk all about it. We'll get you on the couch. This couch behind me is.
I've been on your couch too much in the last couple of years, haven't I?
Well, you've got a whole weekend with me coming up too, so you get on that bloody thing, mate. We'll sort you out. Everything will be just fine. It'll be just fine and dandy. Thanks to all, whatever 1,000 of you for subscribing to the channel over on YouTube and listening to us on all your favourite podcast platforms. Bit of feedback on the new look of the show, the look of paint that we gave it.
Right.
Lots of people are liking it. Some people think that I'm now on the wrong side. I don't even know how to fix that, so I'm on this side now. It is what it is.
I didn't even know. I don't. Every time I think I'm on the right side, I go back and watch some of the episodes. I'm like, oh, I'm on that side all the time. I didn't realise.
You're on the right side, which was the left.
So are you on my side here? Are you on my side there?
I'm on the other
I
side.
see that you on my screen. You're here.
Well, point the other way, and you're pointing at me. So there I am.
You're out in the darkness.
Okay. So yeah. Anyway, the feedback was strong on the in a good way on the liquor paint, and all feedback is greatly appreciated here on the Down South Photo Show. So by all means, comment below on what your thoughts are.
Don't give us any bad feedback this week, because you might get both barrels coming back at you.
Let's kick things off with photo of the week, shall we?
Have you got a photo? I can't see yours down there.
Well, I've put yours up there. So.
Yeah, first, so you can start digging yours up.
I've got one sitting here. Don't you worry.
It doesn't show me on this bit.
No.
This is my shot.
It is.
Yeah. This is
nice. Okay, and my shot. No.
Yeah. Well, that's about as much as I want to say about it. Yeah. No, it was good. This is a great shot taken out of a plane. I think we're looking at towards South Bruny Island there. I don't know what this little thing in the middle of it down the bottom is. That's just probably a no-name little island, but at the back is where the lighthouse for South Cape Island, South Bruny Cape is.
So those two little islands you can see way in the distance off the Cape there, that's the islands that we would have taken the boat cruise out to see the seals. Off Bruny, off the bottom of Bruny.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, they are. Yeah. Oh, I was only out there the other day, and I don't know what they're called. Yes, but that's right. The lighthouse is somewhere sort of on that sort of just after the highlights in the water on that other bit. Oh, just smashed my microphone. Yep. It's going to be a good episode.
Sorry, Mike.
So that was on our way back to Hobart.
Okay.
From the southwest. Yep.
Let's talk about my image in a second, and then we'll come back to your story. But one little bit of feedback we did have was people would like to know what camera and lens was used to take that image.
That's very good of you to remember that, because people were asking. Yes. So this was taken on the Olympus OM System 3, OM3.
Oh, yes.
And it was with, that's the new one. And I was taking this with the Panasonic Leica 8 to 18mm lens. And I had my camera set up to ISO 400 at f5.6. I couldn't tell you what the shutter speed was. I'd say it was, on average, it was around about sort of 1/800th of a second or 1,000th of a second. It was pretty bright, even though it's a bit blue. So they'd be rough. And I did have a polarizer on it to sort of try and combat the window or any window reflections that may occur out of a plane. Shooting this way, I was a bit okay. The other side was a bit glary, but they were the settings.
So if you're shooting out of a plane window, what's your technique other than a polarizer for minimizing glare?
First thing I recommend is try and wear some dark clothing if you're in there as a passenger, because if you're wearing white, it reflects on the inside of the plane. So try and wear dark colors is one big tip. and then try and get as close to the window without scratching the window or your lens and stuff like that. You can get like big sort of rubber domey things that go over the windows that people use when they go out. They're pretty cool, but they do take up a bit of room, and you do look like a bit of a knob with them as well. So my main thing is I just wear dark clothing and try and keep it as close to the window as I can. And like I said, just try and get that polarized. You're never probably going to get rid of all the reflections. I think all these photos I took on this day, there was something happening where I had to sort of just quickly clone out a little reflective dot or something like that. So, but yeah, this one just caught my eye. I had the light coming through the clouds, and then I thought I actually liked the more darker blue out to the right of the frame that sort of gets darker and then lighter again. I sort of like that bit as well.
Well, this is one of the probably rare occurrences as well, where I'd totally give you a pass mark for the blown highlights on the water, because I think that adds a lot to it.
They're not actually blown, though, Brendan.
Oh, my bleary eyes, they kind of
they are about minus two little tweaks on the highlight slider just to bring the red glowing clipping bit off. But yeah, you're right. They are bright. So it was just a bit tricky with that one.
Yeah, no, definitely. You had your hands full with the lighting conditions while you're in the air, traveling at God knows what speed,
and flying the plane. Like I had the instruments in my hand, and
yeah, that's right.
In-flight commentary, and
people definitely get value for money on one of your trips.
Yes, they do. Shall we stir in that pot, don't you?
Shall we put up my photo of the week?
Please, let's change subject really quick.
Okay. This is an oldie but a goodie.
Hey, haven't you shared this one before?
Talk about blown highlights. Yeah, probably. But I was at a bit of a loss because I haven't had the camera out much, I'm going to admit. Other than my trip down to Bruni and when I went up to the Mallee 2 weeks ago to scout for the workshop. Haven't really had it out much. And that's not for... It's not like I don't want to. I probably do want to, but I've been pretty busy, I guess. But you have that ebbs and flows. You have flat spots. Even a man who has co-hosted this show twice, who dropped into the shop during the week, Mr. Ash Hughes. We were having this very discussion about how you go through times where you just don't really want to do it, and that's fine.
Yep.
So it's supposed to be fun.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Why have you blown the highlights in the sun? Like, there's certainly detail there you could have captured.
Yeah, in the sun, like a sunspot. There's actually I actually sort of had to run a lot to get this shot, because these two guys came out of their surf with their longboards,
right?
And I had to sort of run to the right to get to the left, actually, to get them lined up with the sunset. And I actually got them silhouetted. There's another shot just before this where they're silhouetted right in front of the sun. Didn't quite do it for me. This, for some reason, even though it's out of balance, it's sort of added to the balance. I don't know why. I just think I just think this looks more balanced. It's probably because you can see all of the reflection of the sun on the sand there, which is a little what do they call that thing in Broome when the moon,
the
stairway to heaven or something?
Yeah, the stuff. Yeah, there's something. Yeah,
got a similar effect to that. And funny thing was, I never noticed the power lines in the distance when I took the photo. I was too busy looking at these guys and lining up the silhouettes.
I actually like their feet. The way their feet are sort of on the angle, I reckon, looks really cool.
Yeah, as well. Yeah, that might have been. It sort of adds a bit to it, does that?
What settings do you remember?
So this is done, believe it or not, on a Canon EOS 700D with a Tamron 150 to 600 at 600.
Yeah, 600 mil.
Yeah. So which is equivalent on that thing, because it's a crop sensor, of about a 900 mil focal length on this.
Right. So you took it from the shop door.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I was just on the beach, and so what you're looking at here is looking from Ocean Grove Main Beach, so where the Surf Life Saving Club is, looking straight across the Barwon Heads. And if you look just to the left of the sun, you can see a chimney. And
is that your house?
That is the Barwon Heads Hotel. Fun fact.
You are. Yeah.
So we're sort of looking across that way. In terms of exact settings, I'd have to have a look, but I don't know. I would imagine.
How long ago did you take this?
I reckon this is 2017. If I was a betting man.
That's 8 years ago.
8 years ago, yeah. So there you go.
That's the last time you had your camera out.
That's right. The last time I used that last time I used a 700D, I think it died not long after that. I did something to it and I killed it. But anyway.
Well, you shot the sensor straight into the sun. That kills every camera.
Well, that's one thing that, I gave it a gigantic hotspot there, didn't I?
Yeah, perfect. Just fry it.
Exactly. That was photos of the week. Now, Cam.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about it? Do we need to?
I don't know. It's been a shit week, Brendan, and it just got shitter today, didn't it?
Well, let's start last. Was it last?
Let's start from the last episode.
You're true. Let's start where we finished off. You were all excited. I was all excited.
Ready. I had a wonderful group of people flying into Tasmania to come and join me down in the southwest of Tasmania, where that photo was taken on the way back. So we were taking off Saturday morning, as we mentioned on the show. We had 2 Tasmanians and we had 3 interstaters, and we had the work experience kid Cheryl with us as well from Perth. So everything was going well. We got asked to come to the airstrip about an hour earlier than planned, just to give us a bit of time. There's a bit of wind coming in the afternoon. They just wanted to get in to the airstrip beforehand. So we got there early. They also called up some hikers that were going in the afternoon to come and get on the first flight in as well. The weather in Hobart was stunning. It was beautiful. I was getting sunburned at 8 o'clock in the morning. It was a beautiful day. So we took off out of Cambridge, out of Hobart, everything going well. It's about a 50-minute flight down there. We got to about 48 minutes and then started doing circle work around the Southern Ocean, or whatever the ocean is down there, waiting for a window of weather to let us in to our little paradise. After about the 8th lap of bouncing around over the ocean and flying in and out of rain clouds, and then going higher or lower and all that kind of stuff, the pilot made the decision that, well, we can't get into the airstrip. We're going to have to turn back. And his words were, go back and have a break, have a coffee, and come up with a plan. So we turned around and we flew back to Hobart and landed about 45 minutes later. So we ended up just spending our time up in the air. We got some shots. We saw some stuff on the way. But this has never happened to me before. And I was sitting, so I had the pilot in front and then someone else, and then me and Cheryl, then everyone else is behind me. I could just feel the eyes burning on the back of my head as we're flying back, like, what the hell are we doing? So we landed and had some disappointed people, a bit unsure. So I went and had to talk to the pilots and the guides and stuff, and they ended up making a decision that it's probably not going to be able to get in that day on Saturday. So we could come back tomorrow on the Sunday and try again. But again, there was no guarantee because there was a bit of weather coming in there. So by about 10 o'clock, we had to pull the pin on the trip because it just wasn't going to happen and wasn't going to be worth going down for a day. So as your title there says, when photo tours go tits up. So I had 5 people that I had to try and manage, which is all part of the job. We do what we have to do. It's a tricky one to cancel because it's so unique and so, I guess, fraught with, getting in or out, weather-wise. It's really dependent on the weather, and which they understood, but then we had to come up with an idea. So the idea was 2 options. We can just refund the money to you. You go back home. We may help you out with some flights and get you back home and stuff like that. Or we can make the most of it, what we've got down here, and we can put on a plan B 3-day tour around southern Tasmania. So they had a bit of a chat about that, and then they all agreed that, they're here, let's go do something. So then that decision, which was fine by me, the easy out for me would have been just to refund the money and go home and not worry about it. But the customer always comes first, and I was more than happy to put on something, although I was really worried about it wasn't going to be to the same level of excitement as
well. Well, it was never going to be, was it? I mean, you've got your heart set on going to a particular destination. Yeah. But I'd like to think that the majority of your customers completely understood it. I mean, you're not going to put them in any peril, and neither is your pilot, for one.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the call was totally up to the company that flies us down there. I was disappointed. I know they were disappointed. And then, so we thought, okay, let's go do stuff. So Cheryl and I had a bit of a moment, went out to the car and sort of started sorting stuff out. I'm like, well, one, we've now got to hire a car to take these people. We've now got to get some accommodation somewhere. We've got to put something together. So So what we did, we spent the next 10, 15 minutes, we hired a car, that was fine. I'll tell you a story about hiring a car, and I'll give a really good shout out. It won't be a good shout out. I'll give a shout out to a hire company that can kiss my ass once we get going. This is going to go off. You watch. So sit back. So we hired the car. That was fine. And then we looking around Hobart, accommodation, nowhere. It's booked out. Hobart is booked to the nines of everything.
Busy weekend in Hobart.
It was a busy weekend in Hobart. So we ended up getting into the Crown Plaza. So I'm like, oh, well, these people have paid this money. I'm going to splash out on some of the best accommodation you can get in town. Yep. So we ended up doing that. We ended up going to Port Arthur that day, did some cool stuff around Port Arthur. The next day on the Sunday, we ended up going out to Mount Field, out to Lake Pedder, out to Strathgordon. We actually got some beautiful shots out there of the rainforest and also at Lake Pedder, which is very similar to where we were going. And then on the Monday, we spent the whole day at Bruny Island. Went down to Bruny, did the Pennycots trip that you did out in the boat and stuff like that. So it worked out okay. It wasn't obviously what they wanted to do, but everyone, like, shout out to the guys that came along. Like, they were absolutely brilliant. If every one of my customers was exactly like them, you'd never have a complaint about anything. So, but when we went to hire the car, and get this right, you guys are going to knock your socks off here, right? You might all think it's probably fair enough, but I don't think it is. So I booked the car in online. We'd go to the airport, which is just 2 seconds away from where we were. I walk in there, the lady's like, "Oh, are you here to pick up a car?" "Yes, I am. Here's my license and credit card." And she goes, "Oh, you've got a Tasmanian license." I'm like, "Yep, I live in Tasmania." "Oh, so you're a local hiring the car?" I said, "Yeah, I'm running a tour. I need to hire a car." "Oh, what about your friend here? Where is she from?" "She's from WA." "Oh, let's take her license. It'll be a lot easier to do it than that." I said, why would it be easier?
What the hell is going on there?
And she says, oh, we've got a new policy here that Tasmanian locals hiring cars from Budget Tire Car, there goes our sponsor. They won't hire cars out to Tasmanian locals without paying an extra amount of excess and signing more waivers than I've ever heard of. Because apparently, this is the lady's words, apparently the locals do a lot of illegal stuff with cars. So this is Cheryl's first big trip with me. And about 10 minutes, about probably 15 seconds into that conversation, she gave me her credit card. She goes, "Go get yourself a hot chocolate. I'll deal with this." And I said, no. I said, "So what are you talking about later?" I said, "So you're just discriminating against Tasmanians." "Oh, we're not discriminating." I said, "It's 100% the definition of discrimination."
Of course it is.
And she's like, "Oh, I don't know about that." And I said, "How about we just stop digging the hole for you?" I said, "I'll just sit here and shut up. But if you're coming to Tasmania, do not hire through Budget. Go hire through any other brand but Budget," because they were absolutely terrible with what they did for us. So, even though it was last minute, there was heaps of cars, but they just treated us like dirt. So, it was a shit weekend turned into a really lovely weekend. We met some great people, but it was really disappointing. And as a tour operator, like every day in the back of my head, I'm like, are these people enjoying it? Are we doing the right thing by them? You know what I mean?
I get it. I mean, I've seen you in action on your tours and, helped you out in Utah and we've done our stuff. And you're exactly right. When you're running a photography tour, the customer is at the front of mind at all times. Yeah. And when something like that happens, and it's going to happen, Camo, you've run how many tours?
Yeah, that's right. Lots.
Lost count of how many tours you've run. So, you could literally count on one hand where something, probably on one finger, where this has happened. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the hats off to your customers who gave you the flexibility to be able to do it. But, the pressure that you must have been under for that 15, 20 minutes while you're like, okay, we've got to make this work now. Yeah. Luckily, if it was out of Melbourne, forget it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're in a place where within a day's drive, like you can spend a day in 3 different regions comfortably.
Yes. Yeah. And that was the savior. Tassie was the savior to it. We did have 2 Tasmanians on there who had obviously visited a lot of these places we went to. And we discussed things with them as well. But yeah, it was and you're right, like we do these tours and you should, if you're going on a tour, it doesn't have to be a photography one, whatever it may be. If it's a tourism thing that you're going on, if you don't feel like you are, in forefront of everyone's who's running the tour's mind, then you're probably not getting the best sort of deal you're trying to get. So, like I always, that was my whole stress. And in the end, a couple of them even said, I had a beautiful message from Tracy, who was one of the customers afterwards. She goes, "I just want to let you know," she goes, "for what it's worth, you did an amazing job. it was great. We had lots of fun. We got great photos. We went to incredible places I hadn't been before. Don't let it stress you. We'll work out. And every single one of them has committed to come back next year. So shout out to them. But it was a stressful.
Every single one of them.
Every single one of them has committed. That we've already locked in the date for next year.
Where's my spot? I told you.
I was going to talk to you about that. Yeah, just fly down a day earlier.
It's disappointing.
Or come in a day later.
Yeah, okay. So I'll be there when you guys get there. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, done.
No, there is room. There is room for you. Okay. So it was a bit tricky. So yeah, when photo tours go tits up, you know, it's good if you can think on your feet. Big shout out to Cheryl. She kept a lot of things in check. While we were organising stuff, she was sort of just inside dealing with the customers. So she did a great job as expected. And you would have done the same, and Dan and all that kind of stuff. But it was just one of those things where it's just like we flew 99% of the way there. Yeah. I could see where the airstrip should be.
Yeah.
And we just flew around. Like, oh, we'll do a couple of laps and we'll get in. And then we turned back. So it was heartbreaking, really was. So
yeah. No, well, it sounds like you made the best of a bad situation, which I think you did quite well in the end. And I mean, you just got to, and this goes to people who are going on photography tours and workshops. Flexibility is key, and this is landscape photography in a nutshell. You know, you don't go out to think, hey, I'm going to go and take some great photos. You rely on the conditions, you rely on your safety. You know, you just got to go with the flow, and that was a big lesson that came out of this one, obviously.
Yeah, totally. And like, there's some photo tours that, you know, generally there's no risk with. This one, you're in the hands of Mother Nature, and the pilot said, what did he say? He said something along the lines that looks like, you know, she's not letting us into Southwest today. We're not meant to be here, so we'll just get out of here. And right call, like, it's all in their hands. But yeah, just disappointing. But it's an interesting one, and you learn lessons from each thing. Like, we've had one of these tours before that got delayed by a day. So we certainly recommend people get travel insurance when they come on any trip. Really, you should be getting travel insurance. I know people think, oh, I'm just going around Australia, I won't worry about it. Yeah. But if you get flights cancelled or accommodation cancelled or whatever it may be, at least you're sort of covered in that point. Yeah. So,
and travel insurance is pretty cheap.
It's not for a weekend. It's only like $40 or $50. It wouldn't be much.
Yeah.
But it's good to have in those situations, and for if you lose your gear or something like that, or. So yeah, it was that was the weekend. Then we got back here on Tuesday, and I thought I'd start getting ready for our workshop on the weekend. And I was looking forward to flying out tomorrow morning.
Yeah, except
what happened there?
Except it's meant to be Friday morning, but that's okay.
So now I've got an extra
little breakdown in communications there.
I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was.
Look, I'll put my hand up and say originally the dates were.
It was your fault, you mother.
The dates were the 27th, and then we had to readjust that. We're like, hang on a minute, no, there's 31 days in March. There's an extra day here. Well, let's start it the next day. So
March just screwed us. Yeah, that's fair.
We'll blame the calendar and old age, you know,
old age,
and file it under shit happen. All do.
It is shit happen. So. But you know what? I'm getting over that now because I might just sleep in. I might make an executive decision tomorrow. I'm going to sleep in. I don't need to go anywhere. Chill out.
That's right.
I might start on the beers early,
and then you can then we can head up to Swan Hill and have a great time on the Mallee tour, which is great. Now, for those of you who want to join us on a workshop or tour, we have
after Mallee one. Plug.
If you can get to Swan Hill like now when this comes out on 5 o'clock on Friday, you can come and join us.
Yeah, feel free. Or if you want to drive through the night, just get there at 5:30 Saturday morning for sunrise.
That's right. We're going to go for sunrise. We have the Great Ocean Road coming up in May, and we have the Tarkine to Cradle Mountain coming up in August. All the details you can find right there at DSP.
Guaranteed not to be cancelled because they don't involve a plane. They don't involve a plane. Asterisks. We can go back and re-edit this.
There could be a monsoon.
Yeah, but you know what? Like the shot I got as I showed you there, on this trip that we had down, like the weather was ordinary. We knew that.
Yeah.
But it was gonna be bloody epic for when we got down there. Like I was getting really excited, thinking, how good's this gonna be when we get on the ground? I just put up another photo there. Do you want to quickly share another photo? This is the shot,
please.
Just before we started to think about turning around. And I'm like, oh, how good's this look? Like this, there's the end of the world back in the back left corner there. That's where we had to go. But we had all this light coming from the east, like lighting all the landscape up. I'm like, this is good. People are going to be excited. Yeah. So, but yeah, good, bad weather makes good photos.
Question without notice. Do you know the name of that mountain?
That one? Or
I reckon that's the one that I looked at when I was on Bruni and I was looking out west.
I think that's the Ironbound Ranges.
Okay, cool. It looks amazing.
I believe, or part of them. There's more mountain in the cloud behind it as well. So anyway, awesome. back to the show.
No. Well,
I'm feeling better now that I feel I'm better now that
See, it's the couch, mate. It's just seeing the couch. You know, you just get up on the couch and everything's fine.
Yeah.
It's all.
But yeah, I'll tell you what we did get. While we're sharing photos, let's just change the whole bloody thing. Here's another one. This is the sunset we got on the second night, which made me feel much better about the weekend because that's very much southwest where we're going. Yeah. Which is this classic spot that I've got a picture of on the wall over here. We've got this little puffy cloud and all the pink and stuff like that. So after that sunset, that made me feel better as an operator. I'm like, okay, we're getting some great shots here. We're getting some great light in some really cool locations. So, but yeah, it was good fun. And we
that's right. That is literally the silver lining right there on the cloud. So that's perfect. And the other thing, you went on you gave budget a bit of a hiding. The Bureau of Meteorology.
Budget can go themselves?
Yeah, the Bureau of Meteorology. It's fascinating because we're running this workshop up in the Mallee. And of course,
we've been a rant episode, isn't it?
Well, you watch the long range forecast. Now, do they literally throw a dart at a dartboard, Cam, from 7 days out?
Oh, they do after they've had 20 cans.
I've heard, and from someone who works at the Bureau, so I won't drop them in the shit. I have heard from someone who works at the Bureau of Meteorology that a 7-day forecast is the butt of every joke at the Bureau. They just guess, and they look at it and go, oh well. Now they reckon 5 days they've got maybe a 30% chance. 3 days, no worries, but 7, forget it. And these news services that offer 10-day forecast with any degree of accuracy, come on, get off the grass, mate.
Well, what about like even Weather Zone do a 28-day forecast, rain forecast and stuff like that?
But they're using averages from a century of, and the Bureau are as well. But when the news service puts up in 10 days' time, it's going to be 28 degrees and sunny with an afternoon thunderstorm. Come on.
Yeah. So why are you a bit shitty about that? What's the?
I'm not shitty about it. Well, I've got a bit of.
It sounds like you might regard it,
I suppose. No, it's just you look at. So we're going up to the Mallee, which is renowned to be the warmest part of Victoria. That's where they have the record temperatures. Mildura, Oyen, Swan Hill, they regularly get the hot temperatures. So you're keeping an eye on it because we're taking people up there. We want to make sure they're prepared. Well, a week ago, it was telling me that Saturday was going to be 34 degrees, and I look at that and go, that's a wee bit on the warm side. And then, so I put out the message, everyone, hey, by the way, just letting you know, the forecast is looking quite warm, blah, blah, blah. And now I look at it, 28 degrees, showers.
That's 27 degrees and showers now.
Oh, is it? There you go. So it's changed since.
Yeah. But then Sunday's going to be 29.
I must say, though, that forecast is way more appealing for a landscape photographer than 34 clear skies hot.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly at places like Tyrrell where you want a sky because it's big sky country. So and when I say you want a sky, you don't want just a blue sky. You would have something going on.
Yeah, you want some atmosphere going on. You want something.
Exactly.
Some clouds or some storms, even just some passing showers work well, especially in big skies.
And to get Tyrrell with an inch of water on it is the goal. But we shall see when we get there. That's all part of the fun.
You promised that, didn't you?
And I mentioned, I'm going to say this on air because I talked to you the other day. I called up the guy that we go to his shearing shed.
Yes.
There's something about farmers. I love them. Yep. They're just awesome. And he couldn't have been more. Brendan, how are you going? Like, yeah, great, good. I said, I've got another group of photographers. We're going to be out there on Saturday. My house is your house, mate. Come on out. Just
are we taking him a slab of beer?
I don't think he drinks.
Okay. Oh well, we'll take a slab anyway.
There'll be one in the van.
To be honest, man. Yeah, no, it's good. The country folk are generally pretty good, aren't they? They don't mind helping out, and as long as we do the right thing. Which the last time we went there was great. We did the natural light workshop in a little wool shed there, and then there was all these beautiful patterns around and old machinery, and made for a very cool afternoon shoot.
We'll get some good black and white stuff there. That'll be great. Shall we move along to another topic, Cam? Because you put a would you like to bring the topic up, or would you like me to?
Well, I just to go on top of
how to deal with the disappointment of not making the cut in photo comps. This is interesting.
That's an interesting one. Not that I expect to make the photo comp cuts.
Well, you never expect it.
No one expects it. So about the only awards I ever try, or the only competition I ever try and enter, is the Australian Geographic Nature Photographers of the Year Award. I think they got a massive title. The one that's held in the South Australian Museum always gets great shots in there. Tends to be more focused on the less overdone landscape or categories, not so over edited. But after the weekend, I come back and I'm like, what a shit weekend. That was a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. The first email pops in my thing on the Tuesday morning is, unfortunately, sir, you've been unsuccessful in all the photos you've put in. And I went, my heart sunk. I'm like, really? Like, not even one made it past anything? And then I let it sink in for a couple of minutes, and I actually got quite disappointed about it, which is not usually like me. I usually have a minute. I'm like, whatever, stuff it. Like,
I think it's safe to say you weren't in a great frame of mind.
I probably wasn't. I probably was a bit tired and stressed out. But it got me thinking about, obviously, everyone's not made the cut of photo comps at some stage. How do we deal with it? We speak to a lot of people on workshops who are in camera clubs who, when they do their competitions or they do their critiques, they sort of get down if someone says something about their photo. Like, how do we deal with the disappointment of not actually getting what we think recognition is deserved on images that we enter into photo comps? We obviously don't enter them in because we think they're crap. We enter them in because they think that's our better work and we want to show and see how it goes. But then when you get something back saying, sorry, you've been unsuccessful, that's a tricky one. So I thought it'd be an interesting topic to talk about.
It is. Well, the first thing I thought was I never have ever once taken a photo with a photo comp in mind.
Yeah.
First and foremost. So like I don't shoot for that. I think a good rule of thumb when you're out taking photos is to shoot for yourself and always look to please yourself with your image. I've been guilty a couple of times of shooting commercially. And what I mean by that is it's an image that I don't necessarily like, but I know it'll sell. And that's the nature of the beast. We're professional photographers, and I have a gallery of my work in my shop. And so, hey, there's a cool shot of an ocean grove, set of steps going down, the cliched shot, but I know it's going to work and I know it's going to sell. So I'll take it for that. But I've never once shot with a comp in mind. Having said that, over the journey, I'm struggling to think whether I've ever actually entered any of my photos in a comp. I might have once or twice, but never got anywhere with them. It's always so subjective, of course, and it depends on who's looking at it, who's judging, and it also depends on the competition. Now, Cam, the photos that you entered, how many did you enter?
I did about 6, I think it was. Yeah, okay, maybe 6. Yeah. And there was like a black and white category. I put a couple in. There was landscape. I put a couple in, and then there was a couple of wildlife ones I put in as well.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I guess what it comes down to, and you'll do this because I would, is when the winners come out, you'll compare. You'll go, well,
that's the next heartbreak.
That's right. Let's see what why I didn't get to the next step,
Yeah.
And invariably you will see an image, you just go, why? What? Yeah. How? That photo I took is 10 times better, but we're all biased towards our own stuff.
Well, we are, yeah. And that's the thing. There's levels of sort of disappointment in a way. You don't make it to the original cut, then you see the ones that make the cut, then you see the ones that win. And you're like, really? I got my knickers in a knot last year on the same competition because the one that won the landscape last year was a carbon copy of a shot I entered in 3 years prior that I told someone about and that we spoke about on the show. So that was disappointing. That's an interesting one. Like, it's sort of, some people take it some people would take this and go, oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna run with this. This is gonna drive me to do better photography and get out and try doing different things and see what people like and see what the judges seem to like and go down that track. And for others, it can be quite disappointing where they go into their shell for the next couple of years and don't enter anything and then try again and then come back. Yeah. And so, you know,
I don't know, man. I'm a bit, I don't want to say I'm anti-comp, but maybe I am. And I think it's for that reason, is that you get judged. Like, you know, you get judged. And sometimes it's by friggin' good photographers.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's Peter Eastways of the world, and these sort of guys, you know, who are judging these comps. So it can be a hit to the ego. Which I get it, and exactly. And obviously, you're not going to enter an image that you think is rubbish. You're going to enter what you think is your best work, and to see it, to see it just get rejected. And at the end of the day, it hasn't really been rejected. It's just been not got through on pretty much one or maybe three people's criteria.
Yeah, which is a great way to look at it. That it hasn't not been good enough. It's just been not what they're looking for. So,
mate, I look at photos online or I look at Instagram feeds and stuff, and it can depend on my mood as to what photos I like.
Yeah, that's right.
Let alone a judge who's, you know, wading through 2,500 images or whatever it is. I mean, I'm assuming in the case this is Nat Geo.
Osgeo.
So how many entries would they
think there was 1,800 entries or something like that. So it's a lot of entries. So
you can well imagine. You know, so you know, to me, that's like, okay, if I want to win this thing, you know, do I want to stand out? Is that going to affect the way I shoot and affect the image that I enter? Because everyone's looking to stand out. So do you go the other way?
Yeah,
you know,
that's right. Like you're trying to find the magic formula as to what's going to get in front of people, and you can't. No one knows unless you're the judge. You don't know. So
it's so subjective, and that's the annoying thing about it. And it's the same when the few times I've judged at camera clubs. First of all, I don't think I'm worthy to judge anyone's photos, so I'm reluctant to do it. But some camera clubs just come begging, and they're like, "Please, like, can you?" So I went to Colac last year and judged their camera club. I had the best time. Like, I was there with. There was only like 15 people in the club. They all put a photo in. It was lovely. And the best part was they took my criticism really, really well. Prior to that, I did a couple of other local camera clubs, and twice I had run-ins with people that, you know, really got upset. They just got upset with. And it's like, oh, hang on. Well, do you want me to come back? Because I won't. If this is how it's going to be.
Yeah, you don't. That's the other thing. I guess looking at it from the judge's point of view, you know, they're under a lot of pressure as well to pick out images and not try and just disappoint.
If you're gonna enter your stuff, then you've got to be prepared for what comes with that, and you can't just enter it and think that's the greatest photo of all time. That's a winner.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So anyway, it was a bit disappointing, but. Look, I'll enter each year again, and it does drive me. I'm one of these people. It's like, oh, all right, well, let's see if I can just try and get some nicer shots throughout the year and see what I come up with. And if there's something that I think is worthy of entering, I'll try again. Like I did make the shortlist a few years back where I was in the shortlist of landscapes, which was great. But maybe also on the back of that, maybe I'm thinking, well, I've made it before. Why am I not making it again or something like that? But it's a little bit of a dent in the ego, but that's probably not a bad thing for me. So
no, that's right. And every now and then you need a little spark, and even if it is from a negative place, you know, it's how you turn that around, and you know, because at the end of the day, Cam, you're a good photographer, you know.
Yeah, I'm like you're the same. Like we're confident in our own abilities, so it's not an issue of thinking, oh well, that's it. I'm a shit photographer. I'll go burn the camera and you know take up karate or something. You know, it's not like that. So it's just that
And thank you for saying I'm a good photographer, but I don't know. I look at my work and I compare it to other people. Compare it to yours, compare it to whoever else, and I always feel like, man, I'm not that good, you know. And that's not false modesty. That is true. I look at stuff and I'm just like, no, I'm never at that level. Having said that, over the last. And maybe this is why I haven't had my camera out for a little while, because I've been busy going back through some photos. Some of this Utah trip stuff, I'm so happy with some of that stuff that we got.
Yeah.
over there, which is all about getting yourself into these good locations, I suppose. But we could go down a rabbit hole for ages. We won't go there. So it just leads us to our third point of the night, and that is what we said earlier. Is it okay to be sick of photography? And of course it is.
I think we've come to the conclusion that, yeah, it is. Don't get sick of it to throw it out.
No,
but it's okay to get your knickers in a knot for a little while about it, and
it's okay to it's okay to lose your mojo, because when it comes back, it's awesome. You know, you can't have ups without the downs, right? So
like how many games of golf have we played? We're absolute hacks at golf, but we keep coming back, don't we?
Yeah, it's that old thing. You know, there was a T-shirt I saw. It said, "I hate golf. I hate golf. I hate golf." Oh, great shot! I love golf.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Like, you know, so I've been a bit down the last few days, obviously, and the tour didn't go well. I got the disappointment of the photo comp, and you know, even just getting ready for our trip coming up here, I'm just a little bit flat. I'll be fine by the time I get up there, but you know, like you said, like, oh, you know, maybe is it okay to not to live, eat, breathe photography 24/7? Is it okay to have a couple of days off where I don't care about photography? And
I think it's probably unhealthy to stay, you know, or to hide any of those feelings. You know, it's just like, no, you know what? No, I'm not feeling it. You know, just fine. Yeah, put the camera away. No problem.
So this is where we say, if you want your counselling done on the Down South Photo Show, please send us through your topic of counselling that needs to be addressed, and Brendan will put you on the couch.
Now, if you've listened this far, I've neglected to do some homework off the top, and that is our photo comp for the month of April. So as of April 1, which is Tuesday, if you're listening to this on the weekend that it comes out, we will have a new photo comp. And Cam, would you like to tell everyone what the theme is?
It is tears. No, it's not.
That's right.
It is glass. So that stuff that makes a lot of things. Try and take some photos of that. Could be glass bottle, could be a glass window, could be glass reflections, it could be anything that's glass.
When the ocean gets glassy.
It could be someone just taking a photo of a whole heap of sand and saying, pre-assembled glass. So
just add heat.
Just add heat. So glass. So we'll put that out. That'll be the 1st of April Fool's joke. We should have done April Fool's one. So that'll be, if you got the whole month of April, we'll close that down at the end of April. Then we'll do the People's Choice. Is it my turn to give a prize for the monthly?
It's my turn for the main prize. It's your turn for the People's Choice.
Okay. So Brendan will give.
So there will be a $100 gift voucher from.
How many dollars?
$100 gift voucher from Ocean Grove Camera and Photo. That will be up for grabs for the April comp through Facebook. So join us over there and enter the comp. Now,
quick question without notice for you.
Yes, sir.
Our photo comps seem to only get entries from people within Australia. But we can do stuff overseas, can't we? We can get people to
absolutely
print stuff and you'd send it to them to a point.
100%.
I guess it'd be
no.
Bring it on.
I mean, it's Australian dollars, so it's like confetti, but, you know, yes, absolutely.
It's like shit tickets with everyone else. So even if you're overseas, like the people listening in the UK, people listening in New Zealand, America, wherever you may be listening in from, but we want to see your backyard as well. So please enter something with glass. I'm sure there'd be some cool churches with glass or something like that in Europe, or someone glassing Trump over the back of the head. That'd be a good photo. So.
Do we have time for a dear Cam?
We're at 45 minutes. Maybe put it on to next week.
Okay, we can do that next week. Beer donations. Can I give a big shout out?
I haven't done the proper ones yet.
That's all right.
We'll look up.
Okay. 2 beer donations that I want to mention. One is the lovely Tammy from Tasmania, who came into my shop on Saturday morning, had just caught the Spirit of Tasmania over that morning, and came all the way down to Ocean Grove to say hi, which was pretty cool. Traveling, I believe, with her husband and heading along the Great Ocean Road. That's seen our shots of the Great Ocean Road and want to go and check them out. So up to the Redwoods and Cape Otway and, of course, the Some Apostles and all those places. So Tammy came in and had a good chat. That was lovely. And then Tammy left. And then 5 minutes later, Tammy reappeared and slapped a $50 note down on the counter and said, "That's for you." And I was like, no, it's not.
I'm not that kind of guy anymore. I don't do that for money anymore.
And she said, no, that is a beer donation. I've bought you a slab. So for Cam and I, we'll have our beer is on Tammy for the Murray Mallee tour. So there you go.
Right.
How good's that?
How many we have? Hey, just lucky I did check the bloody beer donations.
Because there's a few.
I might have said the F word. There's a friggin' lot of them.
And a shout out to Fiona, who is the partner of Steve, you know who I'm talking about, Cam, who donated a slab for us, which was very, very nice. So thank you to Fiona and Steve for donating a slab.
I think more so to Fiona. I think Steve was holding back on that slab based on his message. We have Mel H, new listener to the show. Thanks, Mel.
Welcome aboard, Mel. Good to have you.
I think it's a guy. Could be a girl. I'm not sure.
Could be Mallory.
Ian T bought a beer. Felicity J and Susan N all bought us beers. So we are
Ian, Felicity, Susan, thank you.
We are stocked up on beer, mate. We have ready, raring to go.
How do you think I afforded this fancy new surround, Ian?
I know. Look, I don't know. What have I got behind me? I got my golf shoes. I got my golf clubs. That's all been bought. What beer. Guitar was all these cameras were bought with beer money.
That whole renovation to your office was done by beer.
Pretty much. Thank you, folks, for renovating my office, and it's great.
Clearly, I didn't spend any of it.
No, you got the brand new Porsche out the front. What are you talking about?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So that's beer donations. Thank you. So, Cam, what's coming up for you?
You think this is? I'm going to fly out to Melbourne on the day this comes out, I believe. Is that right? I should be there Friday morning.
Yes.
Not Thursday morning like I originally booked.
No. So I'm glad you mentioned it. Like, you would have been at the airport tomorrow and I'd be like, what?
Yeah, well, I was waiting. This is funny. I was waiting for you to say something to me all day. Right. And then I'm like, oh, he's obviously busy. And I'm like, that's why I thought I'll see you tomorrow. And you went tomorrow. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, you're funny. And then you went, no, seriously, why tomorrow? I'm like, oh, shit. Have I booked the wrong flight? Yes, I have. Just added to the week of stupidity that I've done. And then I had you on one message, and I had Cheryl on another message saying, well, everything on the website says it's the 28th. I think Brendan's wrong. I'm like, no, I think he's right. I hate to say it. And then she just tuned out. She goes, well, I can't keep up with you two. You're too confusing. So
it was changed everywhere except on the website. So there you go.
Yeah. So everyone looking forward to the Murray Mallee.
It's going to be great.
Looking forward to Mel's on that one. Is he coming?
Mel H. Yeah, is on. Yes, we have. It's brilliant. We have Mel H. We have Mel P. Two Mels in the Mallee. What could possibly go wrong?
And we've got Felicity, who just bought us a beer.
We've got Felicity, and we have Phil, and we have
Julie from Taswegia.
That's right. So we got a good little crew there, and we had John, but John decided that his wife is not well. Well, he didn't decide that. That's what happened. So anyway, why am I talking about this on the show? Anyway, that's private information.
Oh, God.
No one listens this far. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Once again, Budget can go fuck himself. Just putting it out there.
Why did you do that?
Because you're going to have to listen to all the way to the end to edit that out.
Well, now, see, the thing is, I don't edit anymore.
That's right. You
goes out, baby. So,
all right. Well, it just goes out. So what?
No one listens this far. It's fine.
What about on this thing? If like one of us needs to go to the dunny or something like that, can you not stop it and start again? Like,
I can do that.
Don't you know what? Budget deserve it. Don't edit that out. Budget deserve it. And I'm gonna tag him and hashtag the hell out.
If anyone from Budget is watching, we need hire cars for the next 12 months.
No, we don't. I'm telling you now, I spend thousands of dollars on hire cars a year. They are not getting a silver penny out of me ever again.
No, I wasn't going to bring this up. There's a certain...
We've already got it from Budget, haven't we?
No, there's a certain printer manufacturer in this country that can get straight in the same bin as Budget. They don't manufacture printers in Australia. Nobody does, but there is a company that distributes certain printing equipment in this country.
Do they make salts as well?
No, it's not that. They wouldn't do it to me. They're a lovely company. It's another idea. So anyway, we won't go down that rabbit hole. I had a fun exchange today, but anyway, that's all.
Wrap it up. I need to go to the toilet.
That is it. That's the podcast. Thank you for joining us for episode 158 of the Down South Photo Show. We will see you for episode 159 of the Down South Photo Show next week. Say goodbye, Cameron.
Goodbye, Cameron. Get stuff, Budget.
Bye.